My name is Ross Bird. I'm the technology lead here at Omega Networks. In this video, I'm going to showcase how we can deploy a site starting from scratch in a matter of minutes as opposed to, days, weeks, or months. So what you're seeing here in front of you is our platform Pulse. It's a monitoring and in future will be an orchestration platform. So what I'm going to showcase is adding a site, adding a FortiGate device, getting it all stood up, and then we'll look at some monitoring and stuff at the end. So the way it's going to work is that I'm going to first, and just to give you a bit of background on Pulse, so I guess what you're seeing here is that we've got some lab sites down the side here. It's under the Omega Lab Client site group, and so we're adding a new one of these. You'll see it on the map, and we'll be able to click into that, look at the topology view, which will show you the device, some information about the device, alerts that come through, and then like the monitoring data that I mentioned. So the first thing we're going to do is just do a factory reset of the device. And so this is obviously it will be completely from scratch. And so now that we've got that underway, I'm going to just start a stopwatch so you can see that this is all done in real time. So you'll see that up here. That's underway. So the first thing we're going to do is jump over to NetBox and add the site. So I've just got some information on my other screen here. I'm going to be pasting in. So like I mentioned, it's going to be belonging to the Omega Lab Client Sites group. I'm just going to assign it a region and set our ASN for BGP. That's for the routing. Set a time zone. Set the tenancy, and I've just got an address here. But what's more important is the coordinates for the placement of the site on the map. I've just got the GPS coordinates here. And we'll add that site. It looks good. So from here, we're going to go ahead and add the device. Once again, I've just got some information off screen here that I'm copying. That's going to be a security router. It's actually, I said 48 before, it's actually a 40 Wi-Fi device, but for the purpose of this video, we're going to treat it essentially like a FortiGate because essentially it has the same functionality. So it has some Wi-Fi features as well, which we will be disabling in the monitoring, just because we don't really necessarily want to see those any events relating to Wi-Fi. Got the site there. In some cases, we would have locations, and we can add racks as well and showcase racks in Pulse. But in this video, we're just going to focus on getting the site up and running as quickly as possible. So what's most important here is the FortiGate firewall config template, which will, based on everything we add, will then produce a config that we can download and deploy to the device. So I think that's all we need here. So I'll just add that, and then I'll go down here and add some VDCs, which are VDOMs in FortiGate terms. And then we'll add the client VDOM here. So now that we have those, I'm just going to go over to interfaces. I'm just going to assign all the interfaces to the root VDC just to start off with. And then we'll go ahead and start adding some tunnel interfaces here for AD VPN so they can talk back to the smart hub. This one I'm adding is in the root VDOM, which is our management VDOM. Add some tags here. Allow ping for testing, and assign it to the virtual device context of root, and then set the parent interface as WWAN, which is our LTE interface. So we've got two WAN interfaces, one for the root VDOM and one for the client's VDOM. So once again, I'm going to assign tags to this tunnel interface. This one here is just assigning it to the primary WAN SD-WAN zone. That's for the policies, and also so we can configure some performance monitoring. To the client VDC, and then assign the parent interface of WAN, which is our standard WAN interface. And then we'll just create that also. And now we're going to add some IP addresses to these interfaces. So the first one here is going to be .1, 10.200.255.1, and the overlay VRF then we'll do a similar thing for this one. This one's going to be .100 VRF2. Okay, so now we've got a couple of tunnel interfaces. We also need to add tunnel terminations, but we'll just continue with the adding the interfaces for now. We'll just add a couple of loopback interfaces for management. And okay, we need the BGP advertise tag, so it can be seen from the Smart Hub, and then assign it as VDC. Save that, and then we will add an IP address to that loopback. And this will be our primary IP address for this device. So I've already got DNS set up to talk to this IP address. VRF2, and then we just want to make this the primary IP, so that it will allow HTTPS and SSH for management. So we won't need to add specific tags for that. But when I create the client's management loopback, just call client management loopback, and then virtual, and assign it some tags here. So we're going to give it a few tags. So BGP advertise, HTTPS, ping, SSH. The primary, the device's primary IP address also allows SNMP for our monitoring. And so that's going to be the overlay VRF, and set it to the client's VDOM there. Actually, I didn't need to add the VRF to the interface. I need to add that to the well, both are valid, but I'm going to add it to the IP address instead. So typically, if it's a DHCP on the interface, we'll add the VRF to the interface itself. But if we've got an IP address, I like to just add it to the IP address itself. Just makes more sense. So I think that's all we need there. We'll create that. Okay, so we've got a couple of tunnel interfaces. We have our two loopbacks. Now we're going to add some. First, we're going to add a FortiLink interface. of course switch 0. And that's going to be a bridge interface with the tags of FortiLink and ping, and assign that to the root VDOM. But we could assign to the client VDOM, but I think it just makes sense to have the FortiLink itself in the root VDOM, and then VLANs we add to it will be in the client's VDOM. So I'm just going to give this an IP address as well, 10.0.255.1. And this is going to go into the underlay of VRF as it needs internet access. It should be all good. I'm going to add a couple of VLANs. So the first VLAN is going to be a guest VLAN, VLAN 2. So I'll give that a label of guest VLAN. And then we're going to give it some tags of internet, internet only, int only zone, and ping. And the reasons why these are separate is because internet only is more generic than, so internet only zone is obviously to assign to that specific zone. So you may have, many different zones, and some of those, some of the interfaces, they may be only require internet access, or they may be corporate where they need access to the smart hub. So in this case, this purely just needs internet access. So we're giving it that internet only tag, but also just creating a zone for it because it's best practice to assign all your interfaces to zones or SD-WAN zones, depending on what's fitting. So we've got the 3 tags there. Now I'm going to add the client's VDOM or VRF, and I'm just going to assign the parent interface of that FortiLink interface. And actually, we also need to add the VLAN guest, and then that should be all we need. So obviously quite a bit of config for a VLAN, but yeah, it's not too bad. This is a lot quicker than trying to configure this all manually on the FortiGate itself. This is our corporate VLAN, as you can see, VLAN 3. I'll just assign it these tags of corporate zone, and then we'll just give it ping as well. I like to have so these are tied to the what's an allow access command on the interface. So you've got ping, SSH, HTTPS, those types of things. I just like to see that in NetBox, and I think it's just easier to have it separate rather than saying, okay, if it belongs to one of these tags, then just allow ping natively. I just like to have it separate. And then we'll add it to the client VDOM once again and set the parent interface of FortiLink switch and assign it its VLAN tag. And now we've got that, we just need to make a few more changes. So I'm just gonna assign LAN 1 to the FortiLink interface. Which will obviously that will be the port where we're connecting our switch. Not for the purpose of this video, we're not going to be connecting a switch, but if that were the case, you would you'd either have a single interface, or maybe a couple of interfaces that you'd have in either a switch or an aggregate interface if you want to do a port channel. And Yeah, so now we're going to just make some changes to the WAN and WWAN interfaces. This one we're just going to assign the tags of DHCP, Internet Zone, and also HTTPS and ping. I'm assigning it HTTPS to give us a backup if for whatever reason the management tunnel goes down. And we do lock that down. It's not just exposed to the internet. It's locked down using the under the admin under the administrator account. There's trusted hosts in there, so we've set public IPs to only allow our public IPs to talk to it. So that's in the VRF2, and we're going to put that in the client's VDOM. And our last one, we're just going to edit the WAN interface. That's going to be DHCP, and we're going to assign this to the SD-WAN zone. I'm going to put this in the underlay VRF. And that should be everything for the interfaces. I'm just going to double check on this other screen just to make sure I've got everything there. I should refresh this, have the device displaying down here. That all appears to be good. Now under the device, just double check that we've got everything correct under the device. Looks pretty good. And interfaces. And it's looking good so far. I do want to make sure that all those VRFs are correct as well. Oh, okay, we're missing the IP addresses under the VLAN interfaces, so I'll just go ahead and add those. 10.2, and that belongs to the overlay VRF. And then 10.3. Once again in the overlay VRF. And so now I'm just going to make sure that all these IP addresses are in the correct VRF. So 2, 2, VRF2, VRF2, this one's VRF1. Both of these should be in VRF2. And then as you can see in this view here, we've got VRF2 for the WAN interface and the client VDOM, and then VRF1 underlay for the IP address and the root VDOM. So now we'll add the tunnel terminations. So we just need to add lab 80 VPN as a spoke, type device, select our device, and then go to tunnel 1, and then do the same for tunnel 2. I'm just going to click on this lab 80 VPN tunnel and look at all our spokes. So we got our two tunnel interfaces down here, so that should be all we need for now. So what I'm going to do is now go to the render config tab under the device, and that'll then, based on everything I've added, and we've also got a config context set up with some more data in it, so like DNS servers and that kind of thing. That's data that doesn't fall under the device itself. And also some of this data comes from the site, like the BGP ASN I added earlier. So now we're going to download the configuration here, and I'm just saving it to this USB I've got connected. So just save that and overwrite this. It has to be this file name .conf. So we'll save that user.conf extension, replace the file, and I'm just going to eject that USB and plug that into the Forti Wi-Fi device. Now we'll jump back into Pulse, and then I'll also pull up the device here and just check that it's factory reset, which it has because it's asking me to set a password. And now we'll just go execute USB disk list, and then it'll show me the files on there, or show me the USBs connected, and there's some files on there, so we can see our file here. I'll just do, so now I'll do a reboot, and then it'll load that configuration onto the device. So while that's doing that, I'm going to go back over to NetBox, and actually I'm going to go to Zabbix, and we'll log back in first. And then I'm just going to clone this device here and just update the host name and DNS name. So all it has is the FortiGate SNMP template assigned to it, and an SNMP community string, which is under this macro tab, but obviously I'm not going to show you what that is. But yeah, it grabs this macro from what you set there. And I didn't update that because it's the same. So now that we've done that, I'm just going to add this, add it there, and I'm going to go to discovery and just disable the wireless discovery, because we don't need to see anything to do with wireless for this demonstration. Cool, we'll go back to hosts, and I'll just, actually I probably could have grabbed it there to be honest, but I'm going to click on here and grab the host ID, and then go back to NetBox, go under the device. We've got some custom fields here, so one of them is Zabbix ID, so we're going to put that in there. And if this loads, I just have to refresh it. Okay, there we go. Zabbix ID, we'll save that. And now we'll head into Pulse, and I'll just do the settings, sync the data. Now we should see a site pop up once that sync happens. There we can see it there. And I'll just jump back over to the device to see how it's going. So it's just booting up, and it should pick up the. Oh yeah, it's got it here. It's got the config file from the USB. I was doing a reboot, and then it'll load that config on. So this should only take. Okay, there we go. Didn't take too long. And now what I'll do is I might move this over and bring up the topology view, pin this to the side of the screen, and then we've got problems down here, and we can see the device information here. So we've got model, serial number, that primary IP address, and its role. Interfaces down here and in the dashboard view here. And then once we start pulling data, we'll be able to grab, we'll see more data here, and we'll be able to pull that, or we'll be able to look at that. Okay, so it's pulling data through Zabbix. We see it's picked up a problem that's, it's unreachable. So let's just have a look here. Back online, I can log in. So I'll just check the VPN tunnel. So the VPN tunnel is not yet up. Once this, okay, it's up now. And then the next thing we'll be waiting on is BGP to come up. Then we'll be able to see our routes, and we'll be able to access the device through a browser. And also that will correspond with this event clearing. So what you can see here is that this is obviously glowing because this is a new an unacknowledged event, and it's red because it's a high severity. So what I can actually do is if I come on here and I see this event and I start to action it, I can then just let everyone else know that it's been acknowledged. So I can acknowledge it, stop the flashing, but obviously the site still says red because there's still that high severity problem there. Let's just jump back into here and just see if BGP has come up. Not quite yet. Just see if I can wrong IP. Wrong IP again. Okay, yep, so I can ping across the tunnel, so BGP should be able to establish. Yep, it's established. But we're not yet seeing any routes, but after about 30 seconds or so, we should see routes, which we can see now. So very soon this should clear, which I want to get on screen, but I also want to show you logging into the device, because we can right off through that configuration, we can that we've added, we can log in using single sign-on through Microsoft Entra. So hopefully we can watch this in real time. Hopefully we can watch the event clear in real time. Let's see how we go. Maybe I'll just pull up the device on another screen. So I am able to access the device. So this event should clear pretty soon, and we should see another event come through that the device has been restarted. And we're sitting at about, I was hoping to do this under 30 minutes, and we're sitting at just under 28 minutes. So we're right there in terms of time. Now that should be coming through. I'm just going to close this, and then, oh no, it's come through right as I clicked off it. Snap that to the side and then look at the problem. So look, we've seen that event clear, and we've got a new event for the device has been restarted. So like I said before, we've got this one's a less severity, so it's yellow, so we can, it's flashing here because it's it's an unacknowledged problem, so I can just do the same thing here and acknowledge it, and then we'll jump into the device itself here. Like I said, we can sign in with Security Fabric, which uses single sign-on. And we'll just do a quick dashboard setup. And if I then, well, first we can go into Security Fabric connectors, and you'll see that we're logging with FortiAnalyzer. And if I go to the root VDOM, and then go dashboard, network. You can see our routes coming through. We can see our tunnel interfaces. It's trying to spin up another spoke-to-spoke tunnel, but the main tunnel is this one here. And then we can check our interfaces. Got our loopback, our WAN interface, our FortiSwitch interface, the zone down here. And also got some DNS server configuration, SD-WAN. And I'll show you what this looks like in Pulse. So we're pulling this data in Pulse. So if I jump over to the graphs here, we'll full screen this. We'll close that. We'll go to graphs. I'll just close this and then reopen it. I'm not seeing the that monitoring data. I'm just going to go into Zabbix and just give this a it's not pulling many items. I'll just do an execute now on the discovery. But yeah, we can see the data here in on the device itself. We've got some firewall policies that have been created. And if we jump over to the client VDOM, we'll see a similar thing. Dashboard. Well, we'll look at the policies here. So we've got our internet-only VLAN and our corporate VLAN. They're allowed to talk out to the internet. Those policies get auto-generated. And then if we go to our network here, you can see our routes coming through, our VPN tunnels up. So we can see our interfaces under the FortiLink switch. 2 VLANs here, our zones. These are obviously down because this is not connected to anything. So let's see if we've got that monitoring data coming through. Yep, it's all coming through, all the interfaces. A bunch of other stuff like our SD-WAN. So we'll click on SD-WAN and just click on one of these, look at some latency. So we're pulling some latency data for, this is to the KidScan website. And yeah, I can show you maybe one more event. If I unplug the WAN interface, although I think we've covered enough here. So yeah, we've gone over the time of 30 minutes. So I hope you enjoyed it. We're very excited to showcase this to the world, and we hope it can be valuable for a lot of organizations in New Zealand and even beyond, and especially our home of Wellington. So yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.